Welcome back to the Barbershop Show. My name is Terry Holloman, a.k.a. T. Holla. And over here to my right.
Hey, it's Marcus True Fonts. What I want to be today? I want to call myself Friends in the Family, Mr. Holiday, Mr. Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, all of that.
I think a couple of those are already taken, True,
Yeah.
but I mean...
Hey, man, today's a new day, so I'm good.
Today is a brand new day. You're exactly right. This is kind of the relaunch of the Barbershop Show. We took a little break. We had to deal with the quarantine and the pandemic and the holidays and kids and whatnot, but we are back. Special event today here at Sam's Tavern in Bellevue. We've been working with these guys a lot, and they have a great environment here, great atmosphere, great fun. We're going to be here for Monday Night Football, but more importantly, the launch of the Barbershop Show, and we have a couple of really great guests. Starting off with one superstar athlete who has transferred his talents on the field and on the court and some different things that we'll get into later. But a Seattle legend, a track and field legend, Mr. Norris Frederick is here with us today. Thank you for being here with us here in the shop.
I didn't know you was talking about me like that.
You thought I had somebody else?
Legend.
You're the one and only.
You're crowded and stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah, nobody else here at this table was a track star the way that you were. As a matter of fact, so for those viewers who may not be familiar with him, this guy is an all-world athlete, 11-time All-American in college in track and field. I know you did the long jump. You were participating in high jump. Tell us all the things that you did.
Cool. Yeah. So I started off as a high jumper in 10th grade. I ended up winning my first state championship. 11th grade, I came out, wanted to do some long jump and high jump. Won the state championship in both of those. Senior year, I tried to add in the triple jump. Wasn't my specialty, but did really well in that. By the end of my high school career, I'd ended up with 5 state championships. I made the world team as a senior in high school and placed 7th in the high jump in the world and 11th in the high jump, which placed me, I think I still actually may hold it, the most decorated athlete in our state history.
Holy smokes.
Say that again, brother, so they can make sure they take note of that.
Put some respect on it. You feel me?
Most definitely.
Respect on my name.
So I think I'm still the number one most decorated athlete in our state history.
Wow.
Just with the track accolades.
Wow.
And I don't know. I mean, I think I just had like a really blessed career, and I trained hard, I worked hard, I practiced hard. The expectation was for me to go out there and place top 3 at every major competition, just so the pressure was a little diluted just by not going after the number one spot. I think, being raised by a single parent and growing up in a household with 2 older brothers, it taught me to be aggressive and to expect certain things. So I think I just brought that onto the track, and then, the rest was just kind of what it was.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So for a guy that kind of played with track a little bit, right? I never really got over the hump or really put in that extra time. But what does it look and feel like to be coached in track or be able to take it serious? It's not the type of coaching that you might get on the football field or the basketball court. Or is it similar to that? Are the coaches on you like that and trying to make you do it? Or is it a different type of the flow and feel?
I guess it all depends, right? Like in high school, nah.
Right.
Like it's a no-cut sport, right?
Right.
Anybody can go out for track. You're not going to get cut.
Right.
I can be like, today I want to run in the JV meet and walk 90% of the race and nothing's going to happen.
Right.
But I will tell you this. It was a tougher time athletically for me in college than it was with the 13 years that I ran professional track.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Why?
Competition was just streaky. You never knew what type of athlete was going to show up and win. And I remember we went down to the UCLA Pac-12 meet or Pac-10 meet at the time, and USC had a 35-year-old freshman that had made 2 Olympic teams.
How?
Ugh.
Yeah, how?
And
grown man.
Grown.
Kids.
Grown.
Yeah.
Stress.
Come on.
Life.
401k.
That
all
man
that.
is like,
All that. Pension plan.
Right.
So I remember showing up to the meet and I'm asking myself, like, all right, so what's going to happen now? Like, because I've never heard of this dude. Because I was the type of dude, I'll do my research on the athlete.
Right.
For those who are athletes, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's not good for you. But
just go out and compete.
Just go out and compete. But like, psychologically, this dude would beat me before I'd even show up.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
But I think at the professional level, it was more maintenance. We would work hard. We would work really hard. But the stress level was a little bit different because you knew what people were capable of. If you're going up against an Olympic gold medalist or a world record holder, you know what to expect.
Right.
There's a difference between holding like an Olympic medal in your hand or a world record versus like an NCAA champion.
Right.
The respect is still the same, but like the outcome is completely different. If you talk trash to the wrong person, I'm a trash talker.
Mm-hmm.
It's through and through.
Right.
But if you say the wrong thing to the right person on the right day, it's bad.
And they're going to turn it up on
It's
you.
bad.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just affect you, right? Like
Right.
it affects everybody on that field. So, and then you make 24 different new enemies. So,
So that's the difference. Again, I think a lot of people, when we talk about the difference, again, between collegiate sports and professional sports, at least when I'm talking about like the team sports, football, basketball, I'm going to assume track and field too. You're talking about young men, right? Like that are dealing with a bunch of different things at the same time.
Right.
You know, you're an 18-year-old, 19, 20-year-old young man, and you're dealing with emotions. You're dealing with a kid that's having to go to school. You're dealing with all these different things that come into play when you're out there on the field of competition. So I'm assuming that's really, really channeled in, especially when you're an individual athlete such as a track.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I don't know what it's like for y'all, but it's lonely. Being a professional athlete is extremely lonely all the time. You're watching who you hang out with. You're watching what you eat. You're watching how many hours you sleep. You're watching who brings you joy. And I felt oftentimes when I would introduce new people, women specifically, into my life, they took it upon themselves to play the role as I need to humble this guy.
Oh, wow.
Right? We're like,
interesting.
And it's different, right? We're like, when I got my place, I put up all of my awards and my medals to help me remember what it is that I'm working for.
Right.
Every Olympic season or every Olympic cycle that will come around, even World Championship, I would have things posted all over my house, like make sure if you go out tonight, make sure that it's worth it because you're going to have to sacrifice what happens tomorrow. And I had these all over my place and like at the refrigerator, right? Because like if I wake up at 10:30 at night wanting a snack, make sure it's worth it.
Yeah, you're going to pass by that gold medal and look like, do I really want this midnight ice cream sandwich?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth it?
When I would invite people into my home, they would look at these things as like, you're conceited. You're cocky. And it's just like, why would you say that? Well, like, why do you have so many pictures of yourself? Like, who else would you have pictures of?
Why not, right?
But like, this is my home. Should I have pictures of you? Like, but it was just to reiterate who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish. And I had to talk to a sports psychologist because it was starting to eat away at me. I'll start taking things down, and before people came over, I would hide it. And she was like, "Don't invite people over. Just don't invite people over.
Take care of you first.
Take care of me."
I like that.
And it was weird.
Yeah,
I think it was different. In 2012, I ate the same 3 meals every day for the full year because I was having so much success.
Wow.
And
I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like, right, when you, and again, I'm not speaking to it because I've obviously never been to that level of an athlete where you were a professional and the accolades that you attained, but I have been an athlete my entire life. They don't understand the sacrifices that you need to make in order to do the things that you do. Everybody wants to be Norris, the guy that's standing on the pedestal, getting the award, or Marcus Trufant, the guy that's out there winning the NFC championship, but nobody knows what you guys put into it.
Right.
To get there.
My coach was an Olympic gold medalist. His name is Al Joyner.
I know Al Joyner.
See?
Sweetwater, there
you go. We were sitting on the field one day, and I was about to cry. I was tearing up. And he said, "Boy, what's wrong with you?" And I said, "I just don't get it, coach." I said, "I don't drink. I've never drank. I've never smoked. I don't party. I don't do any of that. Why are all these athletes in our training group beating me?" And he said, "Be patient." And I said, "What does that mean? Be patient." And I was like, "Bro, like, this is not time for that pep talk. Like, I need answers."
Right.
And he said, "Everybody's going to be around you when there's a party." He said, "Look who's around you right now." And it was just me and him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, those athletes that are partying right now, that are living that life, they're not going to be there at the end of the season. And the nail had never been hit so hard with that hammer.
That's heavy.
Because like people are pulling up hamstring issues, back issues, dehydration. And I was like, and he was like, "This is your show. Do your thing."
Yeah. Just hit your stride.
Just do you.
Yeah.
Question. So let's talk about, and you talked about a little bit about the off the field stuff, right? A little bit of the talked about the young ladies that come into your life and what it took as an athlete to kind of navigate that. So coming from where I'm from and being on the football field, like certain generations or certain eras of the team, I came to the Seahawks 2003, and it was a team of guys that really like to go out, right? And we like to party and we like to hang out, and that's just how the team was. So what does that look and feel like for a sport that's kind of like an individual sport, right? Do you guys bond like that as, you know, the guys that's running the 100 and the jumpers? Do you guys vibe like that? You guys all go out to lunch together, or is it more just, I guess, a tunnel vision type of thing? And you said it's lonely, so is that, you know?
Right. No, that's a good question.
Yeah.
One thing that I realized, I don't know what it's like playing in NFL, right?
And we kicked it tough, a little too tough at times. So
one thing that I noticed about track is when you're in Europe, we are the NFL.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There would be a blowout party after every single track meet. We compete 3 days a week. And when you're over there, when your agent's like, yo, I need you to pack a bag, and you're like, how long am I going to be gone for? And he's like, 7 days. And you're like, okay. And then 42 days later,
wow,
you're still on the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what event you do. If you have the USA colors, we're attached by the hip.
Right.
Because you've traveled around Europe to countries where nobody speaks your language, your food, your diet's changed, everything about comfort is no longer existing. So like you latch on to anybody. It can be a rival. It could be a rival that you've had all through college. The moment that you see that individual, and if it's a familiar face, male or female,
you guys
you're attached and you're rocking.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, whatever differences you've had, like they'll pick up when you're back in the States, but over in Europe, nah. It's that whole like I got you, you got me.
So let's transition a little bit. Now, you had a very successful career in track and field, sports, athletics. Everybody knew you as that guy.
Mm-hmm.
For every athlete, there comes a moment in time where you have to hang up the cleats, or you have to hang up the track spikes, or you know what it is. It's done.
Right.
For you, when was that moment that you knew? And then how did your life change, and how did you transition from Norris the athlete to Norris the citizen?
In 2014, I had to get a knee surgery. And the doctor or the surgeon said I'm going to be out for 3 months and I could finish the rest of my season after that. 9 months later, I'm still trying to figure this out. 2015 rolls around and I was just going to hang it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing basketball over at Green Lake. And this little kid walked up to me and was just like, you're the reason why I didn't fail out of school. And I said, what are you talking about? And I said, do you even know who I am? Because in my eyes, I'm just a regular dude, right? I can just jump.
Right.
That's it. But I didn't realize that other people were looking at me in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, I didn't quit school because of you. And he said, are you going to go for the 16 games or at least train for it? And I said, no, I'm done. And he was just like, so what am I supposed to do? And I looked at it and I was like, huh. And I said, so you're telling me right now, just so we're clear, if I continue to train, you're going to graduate high school? And he said, yeah, that's what I was planning on doing. And I said, I got you.
Wow.
So 2015, I competed really well, right? I opened up my season at the University of Washington. I was the #1 jumper in the world, and things were looking good. 2016 rolls around, and I'm starting to get like these nagging injuries, right? Where like the 2 weeks before the season started, I got a high ankle sprain. And usually, like, I'd bounce back from that in 2-3 days.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a week and a half later, I'm still feeling the same pain, and it's on my jump leg.
Oh.
You wasn't partying enough, bro.
I wasn't doing my thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I ended up taking some time, and I had to realize I had to figure it out. I was like, I don't care about this sport the way that I used to. But I don't want to walk out with my name being like, he stayed in it too long. Like, he should have retired years ago. So I was like, I got to be strategic. So what I did was I picked and I chose the meets that I wanted to go to. I knew with the number one jumper in the world early in that season, I would be fine to make it to that indoor national championship. The only issue is I got the Olympic trials in June. Ended up getting hurt again. So now I'm struggling just to make the team, the Olympic trials team. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this can't be it.
It's not how you want to go out.
This is not how I'm going to go out. And I was sitting at my house, and I used to go to practice. I'd come home. I wouldn't turn on any lights. I'd just sit in front of my computer and figure out like different ways to stay relevant in my sport. So I was getting depressed. I wasn't having any human interaction. Simple things would just make me blow up and explode on people. It was a month before the Olympic trials, and I still hadn't qualified. And I'm coaching over at a high school, and all these athletes are like, Coach, I'm so proud of you. I'm going to go to the Olympic trials. My dad bought my tickets, and yet these tickets to the Olympic trials are $500 a week.
Jeez.
So they're not cheap.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't let you guys down. Like, y'all depend on me to get y'all to where y'all need. All right. So I do a bunch of rink-a-dink meets around here, and there is no competition. At the time, there was one person in our galaxy that could beat me in the long jump. And I just wasn't finding it here.
Right.
All the way to the week before the Olympic trials, I flew down to San Diego at the Olympic Training Center, and I competed, and I made the Olympic trials team. I went from 24th in the country down to second in one jump. And that was the only thing that I cared about.
Wow. Yeah.
So when I got to the Olympic trials and my mind was elsewhere, I took that as an opportunity for me to do everything that I could to raise my social media. So I brought all the sponsored items that all these companies were sending me. I was like, yo, can you take a picture of me running with this on? And I would pose to the point where I got on the field and I was like, I just need to make the final. If I make the final, I'll be solid. And I prayed my behind off. I'm sitting on that track and they're calling my name and you get 60 seconds to start your approach. And then they raise a siren goes off at 30 seconds and then they raise a flag saying you got 15 seconds. I was down to like 15 seconds, like, just please, God.
Yeah.
Running down that runway and then I hit and I'm in the air and I'm like hanging and I made it to the next day.
Oh.
And I get back to my hotel room and I was like, I've never had feta cheese before.
What?
I don't even like feta.
Why? And why would you think about feta?
I was
at that
so
moment?
far removed. And the pressure just wasn't. The juice wasn't. It wasn't worth the squeeze.
I feel it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the next or 2 days, we get a 24-hour break. So the following day, I get back to the track, and I was like, I don't care what happens. I don't care if I make this team. I don't care if I lose. This is it.
You had mentally checked.
Done.
Like I'm at the top. I'm done.
But I've never said this out loud. I had so many people at that meet. I had a dude that I met on Instagram, never shook his hand, never seen him in person, fly from Nebraska to watch me compete.
Wow.
That's deep,
I knew
bro.
I had a role to play. So I had to pretend that I was pissed off for not making that team, and I wasn't. I went back. I was throwing chairs. But I had to
put on the show.
Come on, bro. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, I felt so much lighter. I was so much happier that I didn't even like wait to see the rest of the meet. I was already in Springfield, California, Oregon by the time that the meet was done. So my agent was like, my shoe company was like, Norris, we need to talk to you. And I was like, say it.
Yeah.
They're like, in person, you need to come to the hotel. And I was like, bruh,
I'm going.
Right.
I'm 30 minutes out.
I'm out. Yeah.
And they were like, you might want to hear what we gotta say. And I said, I'm under the impression that I no longer want to do track anymore. And then my agent calls me and was like, turn around, you got to hear this. So I was like, okay. So I bent the corner, come back. And I remember they were like, so what do you plan on doing? Because my contract was in 2016. And I said, I think I'm going to see what else is out there for me. Like, you want to be done with the sport? I said, yeah. And they were like, we're not going to cut you. And I said, how does that make sense?
I'm not jumping.
Right. Just so we're clear, I'm never going to compete again. And he said, we like your social media and we like what you represent. And I said, cool. And they're like, again, I was like, somebody in this room owes me money. Because at this point, I have no dog in the fight.
Right.
Somebody in this room owes me some money.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, we got you. What would you like? And I said, I'm trying to get a house. So they put some money up for it.
Oh, okay.
And I negotiated that I still got to keep my sports-specific contract, but I took out the entire social media clause.
Meaning, so
they had no control over what I did.
Okay.
I love it, bro.
Right. So even though I was this shoe contracted athlete, I could also sign with any other shoe company, even if it was conflicting with what they had going on.
Oh, wow.
And I also
the Filas and the Felines, right?
All of that. But I also angled it to where I had an option to work with companies that they're hosting, right? So like, theoretically, if Nike was my sponsor at that time, if Nike's already in bed with Gatorade, my contract can move laterally
with Gatorade. Okay.
So
Norris was out there Master P in the deal. True, is what we're saying.
Hey, what I'm gonna say is what I really see and hear, because in other sports, or probably all sports, right? The coaches and the team and everybody is like, yeah, you need to live, eat, sleep football, right? So plan B, which could be social media, it could be this, it could be anything, usually takes a back seat, right? And most of the time it does that when it's too late. Mm-hmm. Most guys that's popping at the time, and not so much for the new athletes now, because the new athletes, I feel like, is getting their money and they understand, okay, I'm hot right now, I need to do this, I need to line with these type of people. But back in the day, I feel like it really wasn't that. So to have the plan B and have that already cooking, have that already brewing is big, man, because when you wait too late, sometimes you miss that window. So it's very encouraging. It's very, I think it's big time. So the younger athletes that's out there may be listening, or that's just a piece of the game, right? That plan B might not be being pushed by the organization, by your coaches, by your agent even, but you need to start setting that up and have that cooking, because the NFL, it's not for long. I mean, a lot of these other sports things happen, and you talked about the injuries, you talked about surgeries, but it's always good to have that thing cooking on the back end, man, so you can step away and you can have something that you like, you can have something that you into, and you go from there, man. And so, I applaud you, brother.
Appreciate it.
I applaud you. It's a good look.
I think the biggest thing that I took away from my situation is anything that you do as an athlete is monetizable. Even the injury, more people can relate to you being hurt than they can at you being at your peak.
Wow.
And it clicked. When I had to get that knee surgery and I was walking around on crutches and doing all this, more people were sympathetic towards that situation than me being like, I'm number one in the world. So like I had a company come in and they documented that whole recovery. Mm-hmm. And my social media went from like 15,000 followers at that time to 40,000 followers within a span of like 2 months. Wow. Just because so many people were like,
let's go.
They wanted the comeback story.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They wanted that comeback story. So what happens is, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean any disrespect, athletes these days, and it could be a little bit in my generation as well, they're stupid. You're stupid. And I'm
all due respect.
All due respect.
But you're stupid.
But I'm going to say it like this. They're stupid because they're waiting on other people to get them paid. You know what your overhead is. You know what it is that you need.
Yeah.
And you're waiting on somebody who has a roster of 30, 40 plus athletes to pick up the phone and be like, look, you're different. So here's what we're going to do for you. Like, no.
Yeah.
And by the time, like Marcus said, when you realize like, dang, like, snap of a finger. You're done. You're no longer relevant.
It's like you was never there, man. That's what I was told. Right. Yeah. After you leave, it's like you never existed.
They're just gonna remove your little name from the locker room and put somebody else.
Right up.
And the weird part is, it's gonna be, and I hate to say this again, it's gonna be the bigger, better, blacker version of who you were.
Yep. And there's no disrespect, but it's always somebody coming in. That revolving door is what they call it, right?
Yep.
So in track and field, the slogan is what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
I can break the world record tomorrow. And then by Friday, like,
you're not gonna keep pushing the envelope,
right? So it was tough. I called my agent. This is my rookie year, And I was like, yo, I want to do some speaking engagements. He said, you haven't jumped far enough. I'm the number one jumper in the world right now. What do you mean?
How much further can I jump?
How much further you want me to go? But in his mind, I hadn't jumped far enough to get him paid.
That's what I was going to say. He was pushing his agenda. And that's what you're talking about as far as taking care of your own business. Sure. And that's what I was talking about. These new athletes with the social media age and with information traveling, and you got the Jay-Z's of the world and people they can look at. You got the Norris Fredericks of the world that are doing their thing. So it's like, okay, I want to be like that. I want to do it like that. And they take charge.
Right.
They take charge of the situation. That's what it comes down to.
And you got to be aggressive. If I can't speak to any other sport, I can talk about track. Usain Bolt. People think that this dude is like, he doesn't take things serious. He's goofing around at meets. He's paid to do that.
He's selling.
There's always going to be an athlete in every single sport that has to be a certain individual, right? In basketball, Meta World Peace, he had to be the villain, right? They're trying to pay Isaiah Stewart as the villain. You have to have that for people to entertain and to tune in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, who cares?
I'll be the bad guy, but the Scarface joint. Yeah.
So, like, when you understand who you are and what their agenda is for you, it's easy. Yeah. It's easy to pivot. So, like, if I had met either of you guys back when you guys were playing football and doing your thing, I would have been like, look, Plan A and Plan B are actually the same as Plan A.
Plan A1.
That's
heavy. But you're brainwashed into not thinking that, Norris, and that's a real thing, though. Focus in the playbook and do this and get rid of all the distractions, right? So, they talk about the people that are out there doing it, and they doing the commercials, they doing the media, movies. This guy is like a media darling, is what we used to call him back in the day. A guy that has a plan B, is talented, and you look at a guy like Odell Beckham, right? That has this bigger than life personality and star power. But there's somebody out there that's saying, okay, this guy should just focus on football. But that's not fair.
But that you would never tell a CEO just to focus on the employees. Don't focus on the money.
Right.
Right? Because you can't have one without the other.
Right.
So if you allow me to come in, and I've never taken a hit, I've never thrown a pass, but if I get to tell you how to maneuver in your career, that doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't take advice from a complete stranger off the street, but you're taking advice.
But we do it all the time.
No, we do it all the time. And like, it's just like when we were in college, right? If we knew what the college athletic department knew, we wouldn't be doing the things that we did.
And what they was bringing in, and we wasn't getting paid.
You wouldn't be taking cortisone shots in the shoulder at halftime. Or in your lower back. You wouldn't be doing that.
Or in your ass cheeks, too.
Right. You wouldn't be doing that. You'd be like,
I'm thanking God right now. I never took nothing in my ass cheek.
Well. Hey, Terry, hey.
I got a second thing.
Right.
That's a little dark.
We went there. It's the barbershop.
But like, if you knew what they knew, you wouldn't operate the same way that you do.
Absolutely.
So that's why they struck that in you. You just need to focus on this and don't focus on anything else. But why is it that they're still telling you need to go to class to get good grades to focus on that and then football, but you can't focus on like having a relationship or media training and all this stuff because it's going to take away from your sport. Right. So their agenda is just different.
But they're doing the same thing because they got sponsorships, et cetera, and things they need to coach or do this or do that, but they got these other agendas they need to take care of.
For sure.
So, athletes should be doing the same thing. So all the young athletes out there, take care of your money, man, and what it beast mode say, take care of your chicken, man, and that's part of it, man.
Definitely.
You have to find a way to be selfish and a little bit cocky about it, and that is okay.
People are afraid of that. The only reason why someone would comment on your confidence level is because you make them feel inferior to you. How many times have you guys been walking around and the same avatar, like the same lookalike, has been like, when I used to play football too.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a story because they're trying to match. They're trying to match up to your level, or they're trying to have some type of common ground.
Right.
And it's never to be like taken disrespectfully, but like, it's easy for me, and I was telling you this the other day, Marcus, it's easy for me to sit back on TV in my warm house with the heater on and the fireplace going to be like, why would you not run that way?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm getting a bird's eye. I see the entire field. You guys should see what's right in front of you. So it's easy for me to make that call. But like, nobody has ever been in your situation telling you like, damn, I see you and what you did was good. there's always going to be a critic. There's always going to
Right.
be somebody, because that's what sells. Why do you think that there's
Right.
shows like ESPN and First Take where people are paid
Right.
to criticize?
Do you
That's all they
think
do.
that athletes of today should even pay attention like to the social media world? I guess when it comes to what you call it, the Monday morning quarterback type of field, because in some athletes that rubs people the wrong way, right? And they really get their feelings into it. You take a guy, you could be anybody, right? KD, I know he likes social media. He goes back and forth with certain people, something like that, but people always have an opinion. And my point of view is like stuff like that doesn't even exist to me, right? It's kind of just over my head, and I'm about the business. I'm trying to get to the next check or get to the next thing. So stuff like that doesn't even register. But I think it's an age or maybe a generational thing to where, okay, I'm not going to take this disrespect from this, but for somebody like me, it doesn't even register.
But I
Yeah.
think it's also because you know who you are and you're confident in who you are.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with a younger individual, and plus, I mean, look at the climate that we're living in. We can't even call each other black anymore. We got to call somebody a person of color. So
Right.
everything around us is extremely hypersensitive. So if I'm a senior in high school or a freshman in college, and like ESPN's like, Norris, you're stupid. Why didn't you jump this way? Of course I'm going to take that personal. I don't know any better. He's my superior in my mind. I got to respect him, and I value his opinion even though I've never met him. So when they say something like that, it hits you a little bit different. But like now, if you're going to call me stupid, just at least do it on my social media feed so I can
Right.
get paid
Get
for the
credit for
content.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Cuss me all the way out. Talk about my mom, whoever you
Yeah.
want. Just do it on my feed.
Right.
So at least I can get paid.
I need the views. Yeah.
Right.
Help me
Yeah.
out there.
But like, if you understand, like the whole Nas and Jay-Z beef,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that was scripted. The Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, scripted.
Right.
Start beef with people. Tekashi 6ix9ine, it got real for him
Yeah. In
But
a
like-
hurry.
But it was all
in,
good.
Yeah.
in a hurry.
It was
But
all
nothing
generated to
about his
create
life
income.
changed.
Right.
Right.
He got out and he was still the same dude he was before he went in.
Right.
So it's like, if you know how to maneuver in that space, I have no problem being the bad guy. I have no problem being the bad guy.
As long as you're going to take advantage
As
of
long-
that
yes,
perspective of
That's
or
it.
being that character.
because
You know what I'm saying?
somebody is going to like it.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah.
So like, just know who you are. And to answer your question, yeah, I think that the younger generation should be maneuvering in social media because that's just the way that the world is going. And either for those who are like, well, I'm just going to wait, you're already too late. Be like waiting for real estate. I'm going to wait for the
For
housing
the
market
hot,
to
for
dry.
the hot, yeah, no, it's
Right?
not, yeah.
It's never going to do that. If you wait 2 years from now, you're still going to be paying either what you were going to pay or a
Or
little bit
more.
more. So
Absolutely.
just jump into it.
Right.
Learn from your mistakes.
I'll tell you what, man, this has been a heavy conversation. I mean, a whole lot to digest. We gave the viewers out there a lot to think about. And obviously, it can't be the last time we do this, man, because there's lots more we want to dive into. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you for joining
Hey,
us,
appreciate
man.
it. Thank you
And
guys for
where
having me.
can the people find you at?
Yeah. So my handles are simple. It's just Norris Frederick. And my website is the same, norrisfrederick.com. So if you guys get a second, stop by, ask some questions, say what's up. Mom, I'm on TV. But like, yeah, I mean, I respond to messages. Yeah, it's all good.
And like I said, this is definitely cannot be the last time we have you, man.
Y'all stuck with me.
You have a wealth of information, so much we didn't even tap into. So again, thank you for being here. Hang out with us for a while, man, when we watch this football game coming on.
Hey, I don't know nothing about no football, but let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got a question. I'm asking for a friend. I don't know nothing about football, but who are they playing today?
They are playing another professional. No, they're playing the Washington football team.
Is that what they
Which
call
is
themselves, right? Yeah, okay.
The
Washington.
wackest name in football history,
Okay.
but it is what it is. We understand why we're doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, are they good though?
yeah, all right.
Any given Sunday, cliche as hell, but hey, you never know.
Okay.
It's the
okay.
So you
NFL.
know,
Everybody
yeah,
getting a check,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, you got to show up.
Everybody getting a
Everybody
check.
Yeah,
get a check. Anybody can win.
I feel it. Yeah, I'll hang around a little bit.
Right on, man. Again, thank you for joining us,
Hey,
brother.
no doubt.
Good to
Appreciate
see you.
y'all, man. Hey.
Yeah.